The Renaissance Center in Detroit, Michigan, opened in 1977 as the most expensive private development project in American urban history at the time. It was a $350 million mixed-use complex of 7 interconnected cylindrical towers developed by a consortium of private investors assembled by Henry Ford II. Its primary stated purpose was the revitalization of downtown Detroit, following the 1967 riots that had accelerated the city's deindustrialization and population decline. The Renaissance Center was not built by the government. It was developed by a private consortium that included Ford Motor Company, General Motors, and dozens of other major corporations. Henry Ford II persuaded their chief executives to invest in a project whose civic rationale, downtown revitalization, was inseparable from its commercial thesis of creating a profitable mixed-use development that would anchor a broader real estate recovery in the central business district. The civic rationale was genuine. However, the commercial thesis was not validated. Over the first 2 decades of operation, the Renaissance Center consistently disappointed the commercial projections assumed by the $350 million investment. It produced a notable combination of civic success and commercial failure. The development genuinely improved Detroit's downtown physical environment, attracted visitors and conventioneers who would not otherwise have come, and provided a powerful visual symbol of civic resilience that political leaders often invoked. At the same time, it failed to generate the commercial returns needed to justify the private investment on purely financial terms. In 1996, General Motors Corporation acquired the Renaissance Center for approximately $73 million. The complex had been sold out of financial distress at a price that reflected the large gap between its original construction cost and its poor commercial performance over 2 decades. The forensic entry point of this case is the $277 million gap between the $350 million construction cost and the $73 million acquisition price. This figure measures the commercial failure of Detroit's most expensive civic investment, set against the genuine but unquantifiable civic benefits it produced. The Renaissance Center's commercial failure reflected specific design and locational decisions that the original consortium had not adequately anticipated. Its interior layout, interconnected cylindrical towers arranged around a central atrium, was architecturally innovative but commercially dysfunctional. The curved, disorienting circulation patterns made navigation difficult, reducing foot traffic and dwell time essential for retail viability. The locational choice, a riverfront site on Jefferson Avenue at the southern edge of downtown, placed the complex far from pedestrian activity that could support its retail program. It sat adjacent to a freeway that generated noise and visual disruption instead of easy pedestrian access. The development consortium had not fully considered the tension between architectural ambition and commercial functionality. The cylindrical tower design, while exciting, created problems for the mixed-use revenue streams that a $350 million investment required. During planning, the strong civic rationale had partially obscured these commercial risks, leading to lenient due diligence. Detroit's private business community assembled the $350 million partly because Henry Ford II convinced corporate leaders that the civic obligation to help recover from the 1967 riots justified an investment whose commercial returns would fall short of conventional private real estate standards. That civic motivation was noble, but it produced returns below what investors would normally require. The eventual distressed sale to General Motors for $73 million documented the financial consequences of prioritizing civic goals over rigorous commercial analysis. General Motors' 1996 acquisition was structured as a corporate headquarters relocation rather than a pure commercial real estate investment. GM paid $73 million for the complex and later invested approximately $500 million in renovation and conversion. This transformed the underperforming mixed-use development into the corporate headquarters campus of one of the world's largest automotive companies, bringing the total invested cost to about $573 million. This case highlights the distinction between a speculative, mixed-use commercial development's value and the value of the same asset as a purpose-built corporate headquarters. In 1996, the Renaissance Center was worth only $73 million as a distressed mixed-use property in Detroit's market. It became worth substantially more as GM's headquarters, matching the company's institutional scale and civic commitment to the city. The appraisal methodology needed here requires identifying the specific occupant whose presence can convert a distressed asset into a valuable corporate campus, something conventional speculative real estate appraisal is not designed to capture. Institutional denial played a major role in the two-decade commercial failure. It was shared by the private development consortium, Detroit's civic leadership, and the broader institutional community. The complex's highly visible cylindrical towers made it difficult to separate its symbolic civic importance from a clear-eyed assessment of its commercial performance. Problems were consistently characterized as temporary market conditions caused by Detroit's broader economic difficulties rather than structural issues stemming from the design itself. The interior circulation problems and disconnection from pedestrian activity would have constrained performance even in a healthier market. The denial delayed recognition that the speculative mixed-use thesis was structurally inadequate. Only GM's acquisition revealed the use case the design could actually support, a major corporate headquarters whose institutional presence could substitute for the pedestrian traffic the circular layout had failed to generate. The complex that failed as a speculative mixed-use development succeeded as a corporate campus. The right user had been the solution all along, but the wrong use case prevented its identification for 20 years. Institutional denial sustained the belief that issues were temporary rather than fundamental. If the energy invested in defending the commercial thesis had been redirected earlier toward exploring alternative use cases, the period of inadequate performance and financial losses might have been shortened. While this counterfactual cannot be proven, the public record shows that the denial lasted 2 decades and that the resolution came only at a distressed sale price that crystallized the delay's cost. Today, the GM Renaissance Center operates as General Motors' global headquarters, housing approximately 5,000 employees. It serves as a key anchor in Detroit's downtown revitalization, which gained stronger commercial momentum in the late 2010s and early 2020s. Post-acquisition renovations address some interior circulation challenges while preserving the architectural distinctiveness of the cylindrical towers. In the broader context of institutional failure patterns, the Renaissance Center exemplifies a specific category: ambitious civic monuments that often fail as speculative commercial developments but succeed when repurposed for different use cases. Major American cities have seen similar projects fail commercially while providing lasting civic value, requiring a user different from the one originally assumed. The Renaissance Center was built as a monument to Detroit's civic resilience. It failed as a speculative commercial project, but was successfully converted into a monument to General Motors' institutional commitment to the city, a commitment validated by decades of headquarters presence in ways the original commercial projections never achieved. The towers remain prominent on the Detroit skyline, looking much the same from the outside as in 1977, yet functioning differently inside to support a use case the original $350 million investment had not anticipated. This case raises important questions about the relationship between civic investment ambition and commercial real estate viability. What specific due diligence mechanisms should have identified the corporate headquarters use case before committing $350 million to the speculative mixed-use thesis? The case file remains open for analysis. This content was developed using artificial intelligence tools as part of the research, writing, and production process. All AI-generated material was subject to human review, editorial intervention, and approval before publication. Factual claims, interpretive framing, creative direction, and final content decisions reflect human judgment throughout. This disclosure is provided in accordance with platform transparency standards for AI-assisted content.